Are you a professional woman in Central New York looking to connect with a community that values local talent? Unlock your career's potential with the CNY Women's Network online business directory. For just $9 a month, you can enjoy a premier listing that connects you with a community of engaged customers, recruiters, and executives eager to discover you. Getting started is easy. Simply click the link in the show notes to purchase your listing, and your profile will be live within 72 hours. And one more thing, as a valued listener of the Cultivate CNY podcast, you get 20% off your first month with us. Just use the code Cultivate20 at checkout. That's 20% off your first month with the CNY Women's Network online business directory when you use the code Cultivate20 at checkout. Don't miss out on the opportunity to grow your career and attract new opportunities. Join the CNY Women's Network directory today to be seen, connected, and hired. Hello, and welcome back to the Cultivate podcast. I'm your host, Alex Canavan, founder of the CNY Women's Network, and today you guys are in for a treat. Today's guest fell in love with hair and makeup at an early age. She's a leader in the industry, a successful entrepreneur, and an inspiration to women all across Central New York. She's the founder of multiple businesses, including the Emerson Official, Soul Society, and she's the proud owner of GlamSquad Syracuse. In this episode, we dive deep into starting a freelance career, working in the wedding industry, social media, and the importance of self-care and avoiding burnout. I hope you enjoy this episode of the Cultivate podcast. And for the second time, let's welcome Michaela Kawrga. So it's part two.
Part two. I'm so excited to be back. Thank you for having me.
If anybody missed Michaela's first episode with us, go back and watch it. I'm pretty sure it was the second episode that we aired. So check that out if you're interested on her background. But this episode, we're going to talk all things business and what's happening right now with Michaela. So let's start off with the Glam Squad Syracuse, because we didn't really dive too deep into that last episode. Let's talk about how it happened, what inspired you to create this, and then maybe we can go into Soul Society after that.
All right. So GlamSquadSyr. So I started doing on-location hair and makeup for weddings freelance when I was at a salon that I was not allowed to do freelance. So it kind of was for me a way to get out of the salon. Like working 6 days a week, I'm like, okay, I'm there Monday through Friday. I want to do something different. And then it was hard because working for someone, of course, you have to split a commission. And it got to a point where a lot of the clientele that I was bringing in was people personal to me. And I'm like, well, I can just do this on my own. So I totally get the structure and I get everyone's situation is different. But for me, it was a way for me to have some type of freedom within what I was doing at that moment. And then a lot of my girlfriends were like, oh, like I was getting so busy that I needed help. So I'm like, hey, do you want to do this wedding with me? Hey, do you want to do this wedding with me? And the party just kept getting bigger and bigger, as you know. So we started GlamSquadSyr officially in 2020. I had talked to one of the other artists, my girlfriend, Sarah Jensen, who works at the Emerson now as well. And I just was like, hey, I have this idea. I want to just be like a contractor. Like, I can't do every single job, but I want to fulfill the need of these brides that are inquiring, and I can't do it all by myself. So I was like, will you be my first like trial artist for this? And she was like, absolutely. So our first Glam Squad bride was Taryn White. Hi, Taryn. She's so sweet. And it was just great to finally be able to delegate and not physically be at every job, but provide artists for the jobs that these brides were inquiring for. And it's just grown larger and larger. You've been with us for a while, and even us trying to, every job there's more that you learn, and just streamlining it all. We have 29 girls currently on the team. Some of the girls do work at the Emerson. A lot of the girls have other full-time jobs or they work at different salons. But it's just a nice way for people to be like, it's almost like per diem. Like, hey, Alex, do you want to come do this job? It's a year away. It's in Casanova. We have 13 girls, hair and makeup. Take it or leave it, and it's just nice that girls can take it or they can't. It's not like you're contracted, but you're not like, you don't have to meet a minimum. It's pretty much do it as you want. And then we do a lot of one-offs. So bridal shower, engagement photos, people are getting headshots. They want hair and makeup. So it's just nice to have that extra avenue of artists that are willing to work on location and enjoy it, and they can kind of do it at their leisure. We get a percentage. our prices are elevated as well, just because there is so much coordinating going into all these weddings now, especially after 2020 and all the rescheduling and that mess that we had to deal with, canceling, changing, you know, amounts of people. So every year we've just gotten like more and more firm on our policies, and the brides are happy. We have 89 weddings this year. We have 55 girls on the wait list for 2025. Last year we did 98 weddings. So we do bridal parties that are 3-person to 15-person. And we even have girls that are on the bridal party and then other girls that are going and getting ready, like getting the guests that are going to that wedding ready. So it's just nice that we have so many hands and so many talented girls from all over CNY that are willing to be a part of it. And it's just been such a great community, and it's just kind of a nice landing pad. If I can't do a job, hey, can you do the job? If you can't do the job, hey, Sasha can do the job. So it's just really nice that no matter what hours, how much you want to work, what you're into day to day, like it's a nice weekend or during the week, just kind of one off.
It's nice, I think, for artists that do have that full-time job and they're not, maybe they're just not in the place in their artist career anymore where they're willing to do all of the back end like
Right.
administrative
And that's
work
a lot,
and
it's
the coordination.
intimidating.
And it is a lot of work actually. I think there's probably a lot of people that don't really realize all of the actual coordination and you know, um, administrative work that goes into being like an artist or a stylist. They see is like you showing up the day of
Yeah,
and
they're like, "What do
performing the
you mean?"
service.
And I'm like, "Well, we're talking for a year. You know, your wedding is usually booked at least a year out these days. 6 months. We have people still inquiring for 2024, and it's amazing that we can still do smaller ones. But year and a half is where you really got to get your hair and makeup solidified, especially if you're going to have a large party. Um, but it is we're day in and day out coordinating and talking, and moms are emailing us and aunts are emailing us, and we love it and it's great. But I just feel like people don't understand the behind the scenes, and we have a full-time like set of people that are solely working on Glam Squad. So it's nice because I can kind of just be like, okay, do you guys need me for anything? No, like it's like a well-oiled machine. I remember waking up 4:30 in the morning on a Saturday just to like make sure everyone was getting to where they needed to be. And now I'm like, oh wow, we have 4 weddings today. I haven't heard anything. Must be going great. And everyone's happy.
How did you get from A to B, from waking up at 4:30 a.m. on a Saturday, making sure everyone's in the right place, to having that well-oiled machine? Like, how did you approach that and attack that and make sure that, okay, we're going to prioritize, the operations of this business so I can sleep at night and make sure that there are people doing the jobs that need to get done.
Yeah, well, Sam is amazing. Sam Belfiore, she is our studio general manager, and she also is the coordinator for Glam Squad. So I work side by side with her, and she's been doing that for 2 years now. So I review everything. I review every invoice, every schedule, but she takes all the meetings, and I kind of just ghost the emails and I make sure everything's good. And I still love being a part of it, but it's just very nice that I'm not doing that and the Emerson and the juice bar. And like I can't be everywhere. So just creating a team that I can rely on. The girls really want to work. We have high expectations. Like we have kit standards, we have equipment standards. You need to do a trial before they have to do a trial on me before they can take any clients. And we have stylists reaching out all the time, like, hey, are you looking for more artists? And we always are. I just think that, especially at the price point that we're at, the caliber of work has to match what, the prices
And the kit
and
too,
yeah,
like that
yep.
speaks to is like what products are you carrying? Because if a bride is paying for a luxury makeup service, you better be using luxury makeup
Yeah,
products.
yep.
Yeah.
So it's really a trial and error. I'm like year
That's all
4,
it
and it's
ever is,
just
right?
like I've been doing it on my own for so long, and technically I was doing it alone without the umbrella of having that actual business, but it's almost like a virtual salon. So even if people are like, "Hey, I would love to come to the Emerson for hair and makeup, this weekend," and I'm like, "Unfortunately, we're booked, but let me reach out to my Glam Squad Syracuse team," and they're like, "Amazing." So,
It
it
was like a
just
natural need, I think, that happened for you. And you were already doing this anyway. You were already taking care of people, making sure that their needs were being met, whether you were able to meet those or not. But it's just like, I feel like it's like good business manners and etiquette, like going in the direction of like actually, filling a demand in the market for that. So kudos to you because like you always having someone to refer a client out to. It's not just no, I can't help you. It's unfortunately, I'm unavailable, but here's a solution to
And
your
it got
issue.
hard because I would be like, reach out to Bloom on Willow, reach out to Element on Water. Hey, they're booked. Then people were coming back to me like, those places you told me are full. Do you have any more recommendations? And it just got to the point where I'm like, I can't beat Google. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
have, we can either do it or we can't. And our team has just naturally grown as well. Like you brought on girls, people have reached out. Oh, I know Kaylee. Like I would love to get into weddings. So it's just nice that it's just naturally progressed and I take a lot of pride in everything that I do, so I want to make sure if I'm like, hey, so and so can do this, I want that person to feel like they're being taken care of as if I'm there as well. Like I don't want someone to be like, yeah, it was all right, but I wish it was you. Like I'm like, no, I'm confident that anyone that I send you is going to make you as happy as I would make you.
Hey everyone, I want to take a moment and tell you about an incredible community that's making a real difference for women in Central New York. Are you a growth minded woman looking for a supportive and dynamic community? Look no further. The Collective by CNY Women's Network is built on core values that foster personal and professional growth, ensuring you have the support you need to succeed and live your best life. In the Collective by CNY Women's Network, we celebrate women's successes, collaborate on community initiatives, and create our own opportunities. We're committed to making Central New York a more dynamic and prosperous place to live and build our legacies. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a professional, or someone that's just looking to connect with like-minded women, this community is here for you. It's a platform where women are seen, feel connected, and can make their dreams come true. Join the Collective by CNY Women's Network today and become a part of a community that's all about empowerment, growth, and making a positive impact. To join, you can visit cnywomensnetwork.com/join for more information and use the code Cultivate10 at checkout to get 10% off your first month or year with us. That's Cultivate10 at checkout to get 10% off your first month or year with the Collective. So join the Collective by CNY Women's Network today, and your journey to success will be celebrated and supported every step of the way. So last year, right around this time, I had what is now one of my favorite aesthetic treatments done, and I have to tell you guys all about it. So I remember scrolling Instagram and coming across a post from a local woman-owned business that showed a gnarly-looking device hovering over a patient's face, and the caption read something along the lines of, "Now that boat season is over, get rid of the sun damage with our laser facial." I had heard of laser facials before, but I wasn't totally sure exactly what they were for. Then I saw the after photo of this business's patient, and I was shocked. Of course, I had to try it for myself, so I booked myself an appointment at Medicine-Based Beauty and never looked back. Medicine-Based Beauty is your go-to clinic for medical-grade aesthetic services that blend art and science. They offer Botox, fillers, laser treatments, microneedling, and wellness therapies. And they have highly trained professionals that tailor each treatment to enhance your natural beauty. With locations in Ithaca and Syracuse, Medicine-Based Beauty ensures safety and exceptional results for every client. Are you ready to start your beauty journey? Schedule your appointment today by visiting their website at medicinebasedbeauty.com or calling 315-920-0012. Elevate your beauty routine with Medicine-Based Beauty. You will not regret it. That's how you're going to be able to differentiate yourself too, because anybody could probably delegate, but to have that brand identity and that standard that you're holding not only your services to, but everybody else on your team. I love it. And I love everything Glam Squad has done. Glam Squad has been my answer to all the brides that I say no to.
Yeah, and
So I'm like, thank God Michaela's here because I don't know who I'd be sending them to, honestly.
well, and that's the other thing. People they want they want to be lotioned, they want us to be zipping them up. They want, like, it's like we're a part of, like, you do a wedding and I'm like, okay, see you later. Like, call me. Like, I'll
It's
miss you.
like you're not
Like,
just getting the makeup and hair, like you're getting a team of beauty
experience.
professionals that
Yes.
know best that are going to
Yes.
be here with you until you're ready to leave and walk
Right.
down the aisle.
Yep.
And that's, I feel like, just not, you can't put a price tag on that because you can have the best bridesmaids in the world, but they don't know the things that we
Right.
know.
And some girls are first time bridesmaids. Maid of honor doesn't know she has got to hold the dress up all day. Like, and these are, I'm like, okay, no, when you go to the bathroom, you better not try to don't have her sit on the toilet. She's got to lift up and straddle that. They're like, what? And I'm like, yes, do not unzip your dress. Like, get the
Yeah.
Spanx with the hole. Like, and even leading up, the girls are like, oh, do you have foot pads that you like? Oh, what is the best boob tape? Like, it's like we are literally a concierge and I absolutely love it. But it just got to the point where I can't be answering every message. So Sam's amazing. We work hand in hand every single day. And it's just been so great. And everyone's like, oh, Glam Squad. And obviously there's a national brand and it's amazing. But everyone calls me Glam. So when I would show up, they're like, "Who's gonna be on your Glam Squad? Who's the squad gonna be?" And that's why I was like, you know what, we're just gonna do Glam Squad SYR. Like it's cheeky, it's cute, it's me. I feel like it just
And
works.
it's like it makes it very obvious what the product is too, which I think is perfect, you know?
I have people messaging me like, "Hey, I was at a wedding yesterday and your girls took care of them. They looked amazing." Like, I'm like, I wasn't even there, and I'm getting compliments on the team and like the way that the girls looked, whether they're in it or a guest there. Syracuse is small. Like, I have a great network of people. I have so many friends. I've lived in different areas. I've worked in so many different places. So it's just nice that like there's always someone. It's like, oh, you know her, I know her too. Like it's just that comfort, and that's what I love about Syracuse in general. Is just we just have such a tight knit community, and if I'm gonna be doing something, it's got to be good, or I'm not doing it at all.
Because someone will talk.
Yeah, they already.
People
Everyone's
talk.
gonna talk no
You
matter
gotta
what.
kill it here.
Everybody's gonna talk,
Yeah.
whether they're hating or what do they say?
There's not you don't have anything to hide behind here.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
And I think that authenticity is also so important, especially in a business. And I know we talked about that last time, like looking at someone online and then meeting them in person, like that better align. And people will call that out, especially now. Like people don't want to deal with bullshit.
Well, you know what? Like, let's talk about that because I mean, I've noticed within the past year, particularly, your socials have become, so it almost feels like just like a breath of fresh air when I come across your posts because you can tell that there is so much authenticity, but also intention behind
Yes.
everything you
Yeah, of
post.
course. I'm not doing anything if I don't feel like if
Yeah.
I don't want to post for 5 days, I won't. If I want to post 3 times a day, I will.
When did you decide I'm going to start speaking up more, sharing more, telling more stories?
I feel like I always kind of have. And it's funny because if you go back to my early days of my post, it's like I'm still talking about the same stuff. I'm talking about travel. I'm talking about beauty. I'm talking about spirituality. I'm talking about crystals. I'm talking about food and wellness and working out. Like, you know what I do. If you go to my page, you know exactly what I'm up to. I'm going to Pilates. I'm working out. I'm going out on the weekend, and my clients want to connect with me. I want to put out what I'm actually doing. So for my personal page, it's definitely just become more of like a diary. We have so much content. We have so many things going on. And it's like, I don't want to be heavy on the Emerson because the Emerson page could be heavy on the Emerson. I don't want to be heavy on the Juice Bar because the Juice Bar, like I want them all to stand alone, but it's nice that I can collaborate them. And the whole point of everything I'm doing, it's just kind of evolved that way. And now we just have like this beauty and wellness like house almost, because everything is going hand in hand. And you can look back and kind of see and just from the beginning, okay, hair and makeup, okay, I want to be a healthy stylist. I want to be able to do this job forever. Okay, I need to, be taking care of my body. Okay, people want to have beautiful skin. We need to be eating whole foods. Like, okay, now I have a salon. We're doing yoga. Let's have juices available after that. So it's just kind of grown. And I feel like I just kind of want that to relay in my page as well, especially my personal page. If I'm writing a caption, I'm writing it as if I'm talking. Like, I'm not like, my punctuation might not be perfect. I don't use capital letters in the beginning of all my words, but that's like intentional. And if you go back to even like 2016, 2017, it's still the same. It's just now I'm more planned. And I think between 2018 and 2020, I was very curated and it was very like, I need to do this in a certain way. I want my grid to look a certain way. And I still do that. But I think that now I just am more like intuitive about it. And I'm not like, oh, I need to post this because this post needs to follow this post. It's just like, what do I want to? Okay, go to my favorites. And I'm always thinking about, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a picture of that plant. I'll use that maybe 3 months from now for like a quote overlay. So it's just like all what I'm doing. And all my pictures, if they're not stock, like they're mine, from all my traveling and all that, so, which is fun too. So for me, it's like a creative outlet.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I heard a quote a couple months ago, actually, and it's like people should start using their social media as like a TV show. Like, why do people want to tune in? Like, why would anyone want to be like checking in on what you're posting if they're not seeing it? And I feel like when you're authentic and people care and people are, supportive, they genuinely wanna. They're like, oh my god, it's not like, oh, here she is again. And maybe people do that, and that's fine too. You can unfollow.
Yeah. Exactly. We love that.
So
You can always unfollow.
yeah.
And it's with love.
It is. It is. I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. And the people that I am for and the people who want to support me and care to know what I'm doing, they do.
I know you said you treat your social media like a diary. What is your approach to that? Like, how do you decide? I'm sure you get a feeling like, I really want to post about this, but like from deciding what you're posting, like what carousel you're going to be posting, what photo dump or like reel, and what the caption's going to be, like, what does that creative process look like for you?
Honestly, I feel like it's like second nature now. I feel like because I have been so consistent and I have been, you know, Glam by Michaela page has been around since 2014. The Emerson page I started in 2020. Soul Society I started in 2022. So like I kind of needed it just to be fun for me and intentional over here because I need to be more
Mhm.
like,
Curated and like
curated and, we're
strategic.
talking to different markets with each business. So for me, I kind of was like, all right, like I just have so much content and so many things I want to say and so many quotes that I love. I just have a notebook and I'm like, oh, I have a notebook in my bedroom. I have a notebook in my bathroom. I have a notebook in my like in my purse, in my car. Like it's just like I'll hear a song. Like I was in spin class last week and I was like, oh my God, this moment song is just really speaking to me. And then I found a hair post because I needed a post for hair that day. And I'm like, that was my caption. One of the song lyrics that I heard in the song like that morning. So I think that I was posting very long, in depth captions because I was just so grateful for all the support. Like when you do something like that, when you dive into opening a business and you just are hearing the positive thing, like I'm trying to relay my gratitude and my appreciation to the people that are supportive. And, my husband always is like, we know your story, Glam. You don't need to, remind people. And I'm like, sometimes you do. I have new people following me every single day. So it's not like I'm trying to be repetitive. I'm not trying to shove my story down anyone's throat. I'm trying to shove the fact that you can do anything you want to do. You just have to do the work. And like if I can do it, so can you. So it's never like, look at me, look at all these
It's
things
a
that I'm
place of
doing.
it's coming from such a place of love and generosity, actually. I said earlier, you love to be like of service to people. Like
Yes,
you are just one of those people that loves
I
people.
do. I love people.
And it's
I love my
people
people. I
like
love,
that end up doing some pretty remarkable things that some people might be like out there and they might not get it. They might not understand how it happened, right? But it's like I'm like one of those people where, I don't care where you come from or what sort of circumstances you have right now. If you just move through life with love and just like an outpouring of love for all people and things, then abundance and prosperity will naturally flow through you.
and I think touching on, the authenticity, I've always been like when I was younger, I definitely have talked to you about this. I was just very insecure. I didn't look like anyone that I grew up with. I went to the, public central school. I went to the city school and I always was trying to like who am I? Like where do I belong? Like I'm mixed. I grew up in a white family. And I think that when you're insecure and you're not really sure who you are, you become very observant. And I just have watched people and I've remembered how people's words have affected me and I've remembered how looks have affected me or comments and I'm like it sticks with you and you're like I never want to make anyone feel like this. Like I'm never going to speak to someone like that. I'm never going to be so unaware as a person that I would hurt someone because you could say something and not even thinking about what you're saying. Someone that you don't even know is around you could hear that and that's going to stick with them and they're going to be like, "Damn, remember I was at possibilities and I overheard her say blah blah blah." Like that shit happens and people are people are just in their own bubble sometimes and I think people are so wrapped up in what they have going on and that's great, but you have to be aware of your surroundings. And that's one thing that I was always taught, like be aware, remember how that made you feel. And I think now, as a 32-year-old woman, I'm like, this is who I am. I'm never wavering for anyone. When I became and I did the work and I realized, who I was, everything else has kind of just fallen into place. And I wasn't trying to be anything that I thought someone wanted me to be, whether it's a boyfriend or a friend or, I'm not chasing someone down. Like everyone in my life is a very two-way street. Like every relationship that I have, I've had friends since I was 5 years old that I'm still best friends with. And people think they're like, oh my God, you're still friends with all your girls from high school. I'm like, we are literally going 20 years of friendship and I have so many different groups. And I feel like as a young girl, I was like, oh, I don't really know where I belong. And now it's just like, I just I just came into myself. I don't know, living Emerson Ave, man. It all started there. That's when I really was just like, I don't want to pretend to be anything that I'm not. I don't care if you don't like me because I like this. I don't care. Like, I need to live in my truth. And I think that when people are like, oh, I really want to figure it out, it's like you need to figure out who you are deep inside when no one else is around you, no one else is watching you, no one else is influencing you. Like, that's your character, like what you are doing behind the scenes, not for everybody else.
And it's not only like understanding it, because that's like half the battle, but then it's like honoring it and like actually showing up as that person, especially in those moments where you can feel like the pressures of being who people want you to be
Yeah.
and performing
Or
for
who they
others.
think you should be.
I think it'd be really interesting if we could talk about how you've been able to expand your clientele into a new market. You've been working in Boston for a whole year now or a year and a
Yeah,
half?
year and a half. Yep.
Yep, and you go every 3 months to service your clients there,
So
right?
I'm down in the Seaport area. My girlfriend, one of my best friends, Jenna, she lives down there. She's been there for years, and she would come home to get her hair done, and she just became so busy. Like, all of our friends are getting married. We're always just like moving and grooving. And she was like, I got you a gig. And I was like, what? She's like, there's a brand new salon that opened in my building. I know the owner. He's great. Like, he owns a barbershop as well. I think you should do a pop-up. She's like, people pop up at your spot all the time. I'm like, yeah, they do. And I love to travel, so I'm always trying to find an excuse to get away and
And
just like,
Boston's, like, not too bad.
yes, yep,
It's like a hop, skip, and a jump away.
exactly, yep. So I stay with her, which is amazing. It's like we're roommates for the weekend, or I usually go like a Friday to a Monday or Tuesday. Um, and I actually have a couple clients that live in Boston that moved from Syracuse. And also had a client who's been with me since artistry, and she was kind of deciding between two locations. And I posted a reel last year, I think in May or June, about how I was now down there doing that. And she was like, I literally had the option between Boston and somewhere else. And she was like, I woke up and saw your reel, and I was like, that's it. Like, that was a sign. And that like helped me decide where I wanted to be. And I was just like, what? And she's like, I need you to do my hair. So I have about 9 to 10 girls that I go down and service. And each time I've added someone else. Like, I just got a text yesterday. My brother's girlfriend has a friend who lives there, and she's like, I told her you go down there. Do you have room for another person? And I'm like, yeah. So honestly, it's just been organic. And I feel like that's when when it's not forced. I sent Hair Seaport an email. I was like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. These are all my websites. I'm looking to expand my network, and kind of make it a recurring thing if it works, mutually beneficial for both of us. And they were like, absolutely, come on down. So the stylists are great. Like, I love it. It's a very small salon. I go in, I just do hair. It makes me feel like a young stylist again. I'm not like doing hair while, you know, trying a new juice that they're just rolling out, making a Canva for our new menu, doing a Glam Squad. Like, I'm just doing hair. So it's nice. It's a nice change of pace. And it also is great to go to a different location and like work with other stylists because everyone's so different. And it's a Goldwell salon, and they're actually transitioning into Redken, which they have never used. And I've been working with Redken for years. So I'm like, girl, it's going to be great. You're going to love it. And it's just nice. It's like a breath of fresh air. And it kind of just gets me excited. And I get to hang out with my girl. I get to shop. I get to, there's no tangible shopping here really. So it's just a nice, like, reinvigorating time. I listen to podcasts on my way down. Like, I make it like a very, like, I try to maximize like the work and play, of course. And it's just, again, just kind of a natural progression. So it's been so good. We're doing a wedding for Shelby in Martha's Vineyard in a couple weeks. So I just was able to tack on my days at Hair Seaport right before I go to the vineyard. So I'll be in Boston for a whole week. So it's just kind of like falling into place because everyone's like, how do you do all this? I'm like, I don't know, but it's working. So,
You know what,
I
though? It's
think.
like just being open to those opportunities is
Yes.
important.
No limiting beliefs over here.
What are like the things that you do that fuel you?
Gotta have a ritual, man. I'm all
Like
about
you
a
love your
ritual. I
rituals.
do.
Let's hear all of
I
the
do. So
rituals.
obviously it changes, each day is different. But the past, like, leading up to the wedding, I was obviously working out more than I've ever worked out. I was like, I want to look good. I want to feel good. I don't want to look at one wedding photo and like pick myself apart because I can be very critical of myself. And I think that was even a whole journey for me, like knowing that I was getting married and like all those stress and pressure, and it's the best day of your life. And I'm like, I just want to feel good. And it's also mental. Like, I need to move. Like, if I don't move, like, my day's going to be totally different. And I think that I've gotten over the, party girl, 4 day a week, going out all the time. Like, and that was the thing. I was like, oh, I could work out, but like I was up late. So like, I'll just do it tomorrow. And now I'm like, no, that comes first. I'm up. Each sometimes I'm working out twice a day. I do it in the morning before I do everything else, and my food and just like being intentional about what you're putting in your body. And I love it all. Like I will eat whatever I want. And then there's days that I'll eat completely clean. Like there just has to be a balance. And I really, if I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to do it. Like you just have to know. And I'm not like you have to be like, I'm definitely not regiment. It's not like I'm like every single day I'm doing this at this time. It's just like I know what makes me tick. I know how much rest I need. Like I used to try and stay up until 1 in the morning and just like get every email answered and, respond to every DM. And I got to a point a couple years ago where I was like, it will be here tomorrow. And now I have a larger team that supports me. And there's days that I don't even need to go into my inbox because all of my notes and like, we have meetings every day. Me and my managers have morning meetings. 8 a.m. I'm out of the gym. I'm like, what's up? Sam's driving in from Hamilton. I'm like, what do we got going on? What do you need to do? What do you need from me? And some days she's like, I need 10 things from you. And some days she's like, we're good. So it's just bringing those rituals to my team as well and creating a flow that works for everyone and everyone's lifestyle and knowing that Sam does live an hour away and she does have a 2-year-old and she does also take clients and she is the Glam Squad coordinator. So I think that I hope that the things that I do also are inspiring the girls around me to put themselves first so that they can show up for everyone else. And it's just been so amazing to watch the growth of all the girls in the space and even on the team. And yeah, I'm just like, just be intentional. And, I get my facials, I get my blowouts. I mean, we've talked about my routines all the time. I'm in therapy once a week. Like, those are non negotiables. Those are things that I don't care what's going on. Like, they come after, or, everything else will come after that. And all of it's in my schedule too. Like, the girls know where I am. Okay, she's at spin right now. Okay, she's got Pilates later. Okay, she's got a meeting here. And they have full access and they schedule my meetings for me. And they run my day. So it's nice because I have to tell everyone what to do all the time. It's like I started getting to the point where I'm like, I need someone to tell, like, I need to not be that person that is doing it all. Like, tell me what I need to do. My hair assistants, I'm like, you're running my chair. Like, what time is our first client? Take their color out. What did we do last time? What do they want to do today? I'm like, you are the manager of me. Like, I don't want to be like, who's coming in next? I want you to be like, okay, your 1 o'clock is running 5 minutes late. Okay, cool. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Like, I just have kind of created expectations that work and that aren't, I understand now why corporations become corporations because I'm just like, we'll just figure it out. Like, it's great. Like, and now I'm like, no, we need to have rules. We need to have systems in place. And I think that after 4 years of having like a brick and mortar, now we have those systems and it's more streamlined, which of course that comes with time. So that is self-care.
No, for sure. And I love, you know what though? I love that we're talking about this now because like it has been 4 years. And I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of time it truly takes to like not only get a business established, but for it to become that well-oiled machine that you do want it to be, because you can't live like your entire life being the founder that's scrambling and is like constantly burnt out and like tired. You're a go-getter. You went out and just started doing it. You didn't like wait around to get that fancy business degree or MBA before you felt like you had permission to become like to build an empire.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, in 2019, when I left my first booth rental salon, I was at that salon like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm working, 5 days a week. I'm running my own small business. I want to buy a house. Like I want to have a family. Like I'm like, this is great. Like I'm happy with that. And then the second that I was told, hey, you can't do something, I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm not gonna just stay here and do this forever and work in someone else's space. Like I want to control my own atmosphere. I want to create a positive environment. I'm like, I just knew that it could be different. And when I thought I was like, oh yeah, I'm good, I'm like, I had no idea. Like it wasn't like I grew up my whole life like I'm gonna start a business.
It's just like a natural, I don't know. I feel like your brand is just truly like a natural form of self-expression for you because you're doing all the things that you love to do for
Yes.
business. So like I want to talk about the HQ. I mean, how's that coming?
So
That's
good.
Exciting.
We rented another space just to have office space and space for our inventory. And I don't get to spend as much time as I want there because, boots on the ground, but it's just nice again with the flow. We're growing so much. Like we had so much stuff in that back room and like you've seen it, like we have so many girls working there and our carts are here and people's jackets are here and I'm locking up all the inventory and I'm like, where are my keys now? So it was just nice to remove all of that, put it upstairs in headquarters, Rose Gold Holdings. It's the corporation and it owns all of the businesses now. And I'm the president of that corporation, which is cool. And that was just something that was suggested to me by one of my regulars. So I know we've talked about that before, just utilizing your network. Obviously, you're not going to pick people's brains, but like if people genuinely want to know what you have going on when they care about you. Even this weekend, I was with friends for the 4th of July and they're like, one of the guys was like, I just remember when you were just like little bartender Michaela, and I'm just so proud of you. And I think it's amazing. And I'm just like, thanks. I'm like, you remember that? Like, like people are watching you even when you don't think they're watching you. And again, I think it's just like, I'm not an asshole. I don't want to be an asshole. I want, everyone to succeed. I feel like everyone has a place. We're all here for a purpose. And I think that people get too down on themselves and they think like, oh, well, like, what am I even like, what's my purpose? What am I going to do? What's going to make me happy? And I am here to say, no matter what you have going on, you're never going to hit a milestone in life and be like, I'm done. I made it. Like we were just talking about like marriage and people are like, oh, once I find that person, like I'm going to be complete. And it's like, no, like nothing, it's a constant journey. Like there's no finish line in life, in my opinion. I feel like you're gonna move, you're gonna pivot. There's people who start businesses when they're 50. There's people who sell businesses when they're 50. Like there's just so much room for everyone. And I feel like people don't understand that or they see someone doing something and they're just like, oh, well, I could never do that. And it's like, you could.
It's easy to dream, but it's a whole other ballgame when it actually comes to like showing up and doing the work.
Right.
So how do you find that balance between like manifesting your next venture and also like, okay, how are we going to get there? Like what is the plan and how do you implement that in your life like every single day?
Well, it's funny you say that. Me and Kevin were just having a conversation a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, hear me out. And he's like, what?
He's like, here she goes
Here she
again.
goes. I'm like, babe, what if? Because, we have all the festivals happening downtown now. And last year, kind of talked to you about the fact that our street was shut down in front of Soul Society's first summer, March to October. There was no traffic. You couldn't park there. It was complete construction zone. And now this year, I'm like, this is our summer. We're taking back our block. I'm like, I want the people to know where we are. And like, thank God that it was attached to a salon because I've seen 2 or 3 businesses right next to us open and close. And 2 have done that in the 4 years that we've been there. So I'm like, yeah, this is really scary. This is going to be a lot more work, but like, I just feel so compelled that I need to do this. But I was just saying, I was like, now that we're doing all these caterings, we have so many pop-ups and collaborations, we should get a food truck. And he's like, great. Now you want a food truck. And I'm like, why not?
There needs to be a healthy food truck.
Like if I'm going to be catering and we're, bringing juices and
Yeah, you
crafts
may
and
as well.
we're making charcuterie on site and like, why not? And everyone's like, you need to have a GlamSquadSyr like sprinter van. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, honey, I've already been thinking about that too.
A sprinter.
So it's just
I love
funny.
it.
It's
I
just
can
like,
see it.
I'm
Get
like,
it
okay,
wrapped.
I get a download. I think about it.
I could definitely see the truck being a thing, especially because you're already in the wedding space for catering. You could just like do it at weddings, like,
So who knows? Stay tuned. But I just feel like I get an idea. I'm like, is this doable? I talk it out with my team, talk it out with my husband. I like bounce it off my friends and I just do it or don't. Like, and maybe it's not now, maybe it's 5 years from now, but just like when I'm like, oh, we should have a bridal suite. That bridal suite turned into a juice bar that also turned into, we have massage and face. Like it's like there's a need, there's steps to do it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I think that's another thing. People are scared that it won't work, so they don't do it. If I try something and I fail, like I'm still learning something within that process of doing it, you know? And we have a lot of people who pop up and rent space from us that are new businesses and, they want to collab and they want to get themselves out there and we have the space to do so. But I think that it's hard because I'm like, okay, yeah, you can come pop up and this is our vendor fee. And people are kind of like, oh, like you're going to charge me to come rent space? And I'm like, yeah. 'Cause we have,
You're like,
we're
"Yeah, because I'm already paying
we're
rent,"
right.
right? It's
Well,
like
and if a business is gonna, and that's what I, especially
it's
new.
also you're giving them a space to do business. You
Correct,
have to charge
correct,
for
and
that.
there's lots of things that come with it, and we provide, but it's like if I'm doing something and I'm bringing someone else in, like that's also, oh, I went to this pop up that Michaela had at the Emerson. It might not be, it might be somebody renting space, but it's still my space. So if it goes well or it doesn't, it's still on me. So I want to make sure that people who are coming are really invested in what they're doing. And it's not like I'm just like, yeah, come on in, do whatever you want. It's like, no, we have to have some type of structure. Everything comes with a cost, nothing is free. I have an established business and we have space that we are more than willing to have you come in and do, but there is going to be a cost to that. And I think that a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm just starting up," but they'll let me come and do this thing, and it's like, "Yeah, you can do it." But just like when we talked about like picking people's brain, like I get people all the time. They're like, "I just would love to like take you to coffee and pick your brain," and I'm like, "We can set up a meeting."
I'm curious about how you say no to potential meetings, collaborations, like
People are like, "Oh, if we could just like pop down quick," and I'm like, "I have 7 meetings this week." Or people are like, "Hey, can I pop down and just chat with you quick?" And I'm like, "No, because if you pop down and try and chat with me quick, it's not going to be quick." And I have a client that's paying for me to do their hair right now, and of course I have an assistant. But you see me running around the salon. I'm like, I want to be one on one when I'm with my clients. And I just think it like if it aligns and the way people reach out, like if you're sending me a DM and you're just like, "Hey, blah blah blah," I'm like, please send me an email, and I don't want to ever make anyone feel like they're not important, but it's also like the way that you're reaching out, the way that you're communicating, what your expectation is. You're obviously trying to learn or like get something out of a situation. And if I met with, collaborated with, donated to every single person that reached out every single day, I would be working for free.
you would have like they say like you have to fill your cup up first
Right.
and work from there. And
And
like if
sometimes
that
it
were
just
the
doesn't make
case,
sense. There's just some things that
yeah.
might seem like it would work, but for me, I like, oh, maybe I've done that before and it just like didn't work out well. And I was talking about the pop up, like we do things all the time. We are doing a lemonade stand on Tuesdays at the juice bar, and it's been so much fun. And you can come and make a bouquet and get a juice. And the first week we had like 17 bouquets and juice combos, and then the next week we had like 3, and then the next week we had like 10. So I just think like don't get discouraged. Like for anyone out there that's trying to start something, like you're gonna try, you're gonna fail, but keep pushing. And you can't expect like, oh, I'm gonna set up and it's gonna be super successful. It's like, you know, everything is an opportunity. So even if we're not super busy, like we're taking content to promote for the next one. And our coffee meetups, I love the coffee meetups, but we've had 50 people, we have had 10 people, we've had 25 people. And you can't base one event or one thing that you're putting out, like you can't use that experience to be like, great, I'm just not doing it anymore, because people people don't know about it. Like I feel like you can post on social media, but not
Oh,
everybody
not
may
everyone's
see
gonna
that.
see it.
People have busy lives as well. So I think people get really discouraged, like, oh man, that wasn't really successful. And it's like, okay, so what are you gonna do next time to change it up?
Showing up and getting that, maybe like you're hosting a networking event and
Mm-hmm.
only like 10 people come and you're like, what do you mean? Like there's 50 people here last time.
Right.
Well, I guess people are no longer interested. I guess we should pivot. How do you know when it's time to actually pivot and when you should keep trying?
Just gotta go with your gut. Like if first of all, data. Always gotta have the data. But then like yoga, for example, when the Emerson opened, we were doing yoga every week. We had 2 yoga instructors that would alternate, and now we do it once a month. And we've kind of just taken it. Those instructors are busy. We're getting busier. We have, clients on specific Sundays. So I think everything just has a natural progression. And I think that when people are trying to go against the grain or like, well, I have to do it this way because that's what I heard is going to work, you really do have to just feel it. Like, and opening a salon, opening a bakery, opening a bread shop, like you have to be so confident in what you're putting out there, and you have to wake up every single day and do the steps that are going to lead you to what you want. Like you can't just be like all in one day and then like the next day you're like, whatever, who cares? Maybe it's not even going to work. And then like, oh, actually no. Like, and people notice that too, like flighty.
Yeah, if you can't be like wavering on every business decision you make.
Right. Like I
Yeah.
did it. I'm doing it. I'm going to
I'm gonna
make it
commit
work,
to
right?
it at least for like a certain period of time, and then you can go back and look at the data too. Because like, especially if you are, especially with like events, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many factors that go into it. So don't get discouraged if like you don't immediately get the result that you want.
And I think there's a lot of behind the scenes that happens, and people only start really paying attention when it gets popular. And it's like, oh no, we've been working on this for like 7 years before you even knew about it. So it's like taking those natural steps every day and like putting your best foot forward and sticking with something. And I know people who are all over the place and they're doing this one day and they're doing that another day and they're doing, and that's great. I can't, like, people might think that's how I am, but I feel like everything I do is very like thought out.
I say this just to everybody about you. I'm like, I don't know anybody that has a social battery she does, but like, it's really just like the work ethic that's insane.
Well, and I don't feel like I'm working. And I think that I forget that too when I'm just like, oh my God, why do I feel like this? And my mom's like, well, you had this.
You
Like,
like forget that it's actually real
yeah.
work.
And
Yeah.
I love doing it. And I want to take, like, this past weekend, one of my really good friends got married. I was in her wedding. We catered the morning of. Glam Squad did the hair and makeup. We're steaming dresses. We're like, it's just, we got the flower wall getting put up. Alicia and Kevin are down there setting that up, sending me pictures, making sure it's right. And it's just like, it is so much work. And I think sometimes I forget. And then when I'm just like dead for a day, I'm like, oh, well, I did do a lot of stuff. Like today, everyone's like, wait, you're recording a podcast? I'm like, yeah. They're like, didn't you just have a wicked long weekend? I'm like, yeah. But like, my weekend's not going to ruin my Monday. We got to get it done. We planned this months ago. Like, my life is very planned out as far as my schedule. And, I'm like, okay, like, let's get it on the books now, even if it's next year. But that's what I mean when it doesn't feel like work, because it's like what I'm truly passionate about it. And I truly want people to be comfortable in my space. And I want them to feel like it's something they've never experienced before. And yeah, I don't know, my battery just don't quit.
Yeah, no, it
And when I
don't.
do need to quit, I quit. So, I
Yeah.
Netflixed all day yesterday.
And I think
And
that's
it
why
was
you've been
great.
able to keep going, because like you're also gentle with yourself when you need to be. Like
Yes.
you're kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
And that took me a lot of years to figure
there's a lot
out.
of people out there that like we can say the same thing about their work ethic, but they don't ever stop, and then it's,
The burnout.
the burnout is real, your health can decline, like you really do come at life with like a totally holistic point of view, and I think that that's really the only way to build what you're trying to build. So,
I have a lot of different friend groups, and I truly care about everyone that's in my circle. So when people are like, oh my God, you don't stop. And I'm like, well, I have an opportunity to have dinner with my friend who has a kid who never gets to go out. So I don't care that I worked all day. Like, I'm going to go see her. Or, oh, my girlfriend can't go out anymore because now she has 2 kids. So I want to like bring lunch to her at her house. Like, it's just very important to me to show people how much I care and love them. And with those deep rooted relationships, like I don't have any superficial, like, I don't do fake. Like, so if I love you, I'm going to love you hard. I want to spend time with you. I want to spend time with you. I want to spend time with your kids. Like, it's not just, oh, you're my drinking friend, or, oh, I like truly care about those meaningful relationships. And that's what I think is important. And, I show up for people. And even like Memorial Day, like I really wanted to go out to my girlfriend's house, and we were all about it. And then we went to Sunday dinner, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just, you want to just stay home? And Kevin's like, yeah, can we please just chill? He leaves every Monday. And I texted her, I was like, love you, not going to make it. And she's like, oh my God, no worries. Like, I also think people are too scared to say no, but you just have to be honest. It's not like, hey, I'm sick, can't come over. It's like, hey, I'm literally just beat. Like, I'll catch you next time. And people who love you will understand that. So I never feel nervous to like tell someone what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking. And
yeah, no, you have to like advocate for yourself as hard as you are advocating for other people. And I think like for someone that is just naturally so people centric, like as you are, it can be hard to like be that person for yourself though. I think I struggle with that. And like I've only just after like lots of therapy, honestly, and a few books, I finally have gotten to a place of like being honest when I'm like beat and I just can't show up. And I think when you do genuinely like want people to be happy, it's an interesting kind of dance between those two things.
absolutely. And I mean, I'm in a non-traditional situation. My husband works on the road for a living. I can take that whole day and like see 10 clients and have meetings and meet with my team, but I'm going home and I'm by myself. So I have that time to just decompress. And it's like I have the best of both worlds. I have an amazing husband. He's super supportive. He can't be there with me physically all the time, but like we have such a routine, and it's just very nice to be with someone who like genuinely believes in everything that you do. And if he doesn't, he'll tell me. And when I'm being dramatic, he'll tell me. And he really keeps me grounded. But not a lot of people have that alone time, especially in a marriage. Like, so when there are days that he is home and he's like, oh, what do you want to do for dinner? And I'm like, I don't want to think about what we're doing for dinner. You pick what we're doing. I've been making decisions all day. So that's something too that I'm like, let's not forget, guys, like I have a lot of alone time as well. Like throughout like I can go home and just decompress, take care of myself. And I'm not trying to, like, I don't have to be on when I get home. Not that I have to be on, but
Yeah, but
you
a lot of
feel
women
like,
like
oh,
do have
I
to.
got to get home and make dinner for Kevin.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm like, we're getting takeout. I was like, okay, so, and when we are together and we do have that time together, it's like I can shut everything else out because I'm like, I haven't seen you for 10 days or 5 days, whatever that trip may have been. Like, people understand, like, oh, Kev's home. Like, I'm not going to bother her unless I really need to. Or I get texts all the time, like, hey, I know Kev's in town. We would love to see you, but like, if not, no big deal. Like, and it's just a blessing that our friends are so intertwined and intermingled too. Like if he's not around, I'm still hanging out with his friends and their wives. And if I'm not around, like I went home Saturday and he dropped me off, went back out. It's great when you have a partner that also supports you and you guys have a non-traditional lifestyle, but it just works and it just flows because he knows when I need my time and I know when he needs his time, and I don't feel like I need to fake it.
Yeah.
We're very real with each other.
You'll hear a lot of podcast episodes that's like highlighting the entrepreneur and like all the amazing things they're doing.
Right.
But like behind, every powerful woman or man or just person, there might be a really supportive partner there
Takes
that's
a
like
village.
holding it down,
Yeah.
or just like providing that kind of safe haven to just be, which is super important too.
So
So
important.
thank you.
So
Thanks for talking about that, honestly.
yeah. Oh
I
my
wasn't
God.
going to talk about the marriage, but like, I mean, I think it's an interesting situation that you're in, and I think it works perfectly.
It does.
Because you are so needed in so many areas of your life. If you were like needed full time at home too while you were building these things, I mean, I would be praying for you.
Yes, I definitely lift him up and he definitely keeps me down. Like,
It works.
in reality, it's sometimes I'm like, "Ah." He's like, okay, take a deep breath. He's like, you want to call me back? I'm like, yeah. I
You
just
want to
need
call
a
me
minute.
back?
Like, because I'm like, I get out
Yeah.
of work, I want to call him, and there's days I'll get out of work at 9, he's already sleeping because he's exhausted. So I'm like, talk to you in the morning. I'm not like at home, like, why aren't you calling me back? It's just, you have to be secure in your relationship too. And he has his independence and he's very busy himself, and I was as well. So when we came together, we kind of understood that. It's not like he has an established career. He's been there 16 years almost. It's not like he's trying to he's older. So, he knows who he is and he's not changing. I'm a very like growth mindset, and I'm very like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And he's like, okay, let's keep it 100 right now, Michaela. He's like, let's talk this out. So you do need that.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom works for me now. So like I have my mom at the studio and she's like, here's a water. I made you a salad. Go eat. Like, and not everybody has that, but like we've created
You
that.
do have a great support system.
Yeah.
Like you have a great, not only like family, but great friends too. And you always have like, and that's, I think, when you're doing what you're doing and building what you're building, there's not a whole lot of people to relate to. So
That's
I'm
the hard
sure it
thing,
gets
yeah.
lonely, but as at least like you are supported and loved and like
Yes.
respected.
Yep. And I know that. And it's hard sometimes too, because even when someone is trying to be helpful, you're like, are you okay? Do you need anything? And you're like, I just need to be left alone. Like, and I'll text, I'm like, sorry if I was like, spinning out of control today, or sorry if I didn't get time to like talk to you. And everyone's like, I get it. Like, it's fine. Cause I'm just like, I'm in it, and it's hard because no one really can relate. And that's why I love when we get to meet up with like Alyssa and Krissa, and we do these wedding vendor meetups, and we have that outlet to like talk about being an entrepreneur, because not everybody can understand that. And it's really something you have to eat, sleep, and breathe. It's 24/7. So when people are like, oh, it must be nice, you get to travel all the time. Oh, it must be nice. I'm like, yeah, but I'm also like constantly working, like always working. My best friend Elvira, she's been the studio manager since we've opened, and she keeps me in check too. Like, God bless her, because she's known me. We've been friends since we were 11. So she's like, I know when you need things and I know when you don't need things. And we have a very open relationship, and the way we communicate, it's hard working. It's hard being your mom's boss. It's hard being your friend's boss. It's hard, asking your husband to do 17 things when he's home on the weekend, but like you need that help. So I just, and I know that people show up for me, and that's why I think it's so important that I show up for everyone else, because I couldn't do it by myself.
I think as entrepreneurs, a really good skill to learn, because you won't be able to do it alone, is like, how do you get buy-in from people, or like how do you create that space for grace so you can come through with all those asks from people,
Communication. You got to be honest. And I just don't expect people, like, you can't expect people to want to help you. People think like, oh, I hear a lot of people who have kids, and I don't have kids yet, but they're like, my parents don't want to watch my kid this weekend. And it's like, well, they're not your babysitter, they're their grandparents, so it's like me, like, oh, well, my mom should know what I need her to do before I need her to do it. It's like, no, you need to like explain it. Like, just because she's your mother doesn't mean she can read your mind. So just giving other people grace and understanding. Like, Elvira works from home. She has a 1-year-old. So it's like, yes, I need her to do certain things, but I also understand that she has, like, everyone has their own life, and no one else's life is more important or more hard or easier than anyone else's. We're all dealing with things every single day, and we all have battles that we're, struggling with that people might not even know about. So you just have to be kind, and again, with the awareness and like knowing, like, she seems a little short today. I'm like, and I'll text her on my personal phone, be like, you good? Like, because we have a work phone and a personal phone. So you just have to like be aware of, you can't just assume like the world revolves around you and everybody should just fall in line when you need them to. Personal and professional relationships are amazing, but they also can be very hard. So I'm just like really big on the communication and checking in with people and making sure, not just like assuming everything's all good. Like, oh, she seems fine. Like, you have to genuinely care.
And like willing to put in the extra work and be thorough in your communication so that people know that you
Having hard conversations, being true with your feelings. Like, I'm not going to hold something inside and like make it me go like spiral because I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. I'm going to just, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? How do you feel? Oh, you felt like the same? Great. I'm glad we talked about it. Let's move on.
Well, before we close out the episode, is there anything exciting that you want to share regarding any of your businesses that might be happening in 2024 or 2025?
Honestly, I feel like you guys are just going to have to stay tuned.
Just wait and
what's
see
up.
and
Just
check out
wait
the
and
lemonade
see.
stand.
Check out the lemonade stand. It's going to be going on all summer. The downtown market starts, so we're super excited about that. Soul Society is going to be popping up all over town. We have a lot of collaborations coming in the works. We have a lot of our products. We're in Syracuse right now. We have juices out at Chelsea's Aesthetic Boutique. We have juices out at the new Spin Cycle Spoke in Fayetteville. So again, things have just been slowly happening, and I feel like every time, I'm like, okay, we're chilling, like something else pops up, and I just feel like you're just gonna have to see where it
You
takes
never
me.
know.
Yeah, you never know.
Never know with glam.
Exactly. Keeping guessing.
Thank you so much, Michaela,
Thank
for joining me.
Thanks for having me back.
It's a pleasure.
So much fun.
All right, guys, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to Cultivate CNY. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you left us a review and make sure you're subscribed to the show. Speaking of the show, if you know anyone or if you are interested in being our next guest on Cultivate CNY, be sure to submit us an application. You can just click the link in the show notes. And if you're a business owner that's interested in getting in front of our audience, you can go ahead and email us at podcast@cnywomensnetwork.com to learn more about sponsorship and advertising opportunities. All right, that's it for now. I'll catch you guys next Monday.